Hello everyone, and welcome to Noodle Journey, your destination for detailed and informative reviews of the instant noodle universe. Summer is in full swing. It's been insanely hot recently, and so this is the time of year I love to showcase cold noodle dishes. And we've got something truly unique here, at least to me, from South Korea. This is Ottogi's Kongguksu. Before we get started, please give this video a thumbs up and subscribe to the channel if you haven't already so I can keep making this content. Yeah, this one is really interesting, at least from a Western perspective like mine. So of course when I saw this on ramenmall.com, I had to buy it. I love trying new things. When it's in stock, you can buy this in a 4-pack from Ramen Mall for $12.99 US, or on other Korean noodle sites, and possibly even your own Asian market if they import this. I do know that there are H-Marts in the USA that carry this. And so at this point you're probably wondering, if you're not familiar already, what Kongguksu is. This is a dish from Korea in which you combine thin wheat noodles with a cold soy milk broth. And the result is supposed to be this creamy, nutty noodle dish that is supposed to refresh you when it's hot. So I probably lost a bunch of you as soon as I said cold soy milk broth, but I hope the rest of you stick around to see how this goes. I don't know if I'm gonna like this, but I'm gonna keep an open mind and maybe I'll be surprised. The sodium in this pack is on the medium side, 1100 milligrams for the whole bag, and that's not terrible at all in the instant noodle world. Now inside the pack we've got what appear to be Ottogi's usual great noodles with both wheat and potato starch, and we've got a powder packet containing the powdered soy milk broth. Now as far as what else is in here, pay attention to this list. There are some potential allergens in here that you need to be aware of. This contains soybean powder, of course, palm oil, milk, yes, the kind that comes from a cow, this is not vegan, sugar, salt, corn powder, peanut powder, sesame, and black sesame seeds. So it seems like a pretty interesting recipe. I'm worried between the sugar and the corn that it's going to end up a little too far on the sweet side, but let's get this cooked and see what happens. I'll be right back. Alright, so while the noodles are boiling for 4 minutes, I've added 200 milliliters of cold water into my serving bowl, which you're then going to use to mix with the powder to form your broth. Yeah, it's got a very pleasant peanut and very light corn smell. Pretty neat. Alright, and as you can see here, this is a lot of powder for this amount of water. And the reason is this is supposed to be a pretty thick broth. And you really want to stir this well, because a couple of people who've already reviewed this, yes, I do my research, have mentioned that this can get unpleasantly lumpy. So I want to smooth this out as much as I can before I add the noodles in. Yeah, see, there's big clumps still in here. I almost want to say you should get a whisk to try to get this as smooth as possible, but not everybody's going to have a whisk handy when they're making their instant noodles, so I'm just going to go with chopsticks and see what happens. I should mention at this point, before I go drain the noodles and rinse them off, that there are no instructions for serving this hot. And frankly, I don't think I would even try. I really doubt that hot soy milk soup is going to be very good, so bear that in mind if you buy this. And I'm going to go get the noodles. Okay. Let's get this all stirred up so that the noodles get coated in the broth. I'm hoping that this final stir will take care of any lingering lumps. All right, I guess this is as good as it's going to get. Let's go for a taste. All right, interesting. Let's start with the noodle score. I am pretty sure that these are Ottogi's normal noodles that we see in other products like Jin Ramen. But here in this soup, they take on a really interesting texture, almost gummy, still nice and chewy, very slick with broth. I don't think they're any better or worse than when they appear in Ottogi's other products. Every single recipe for Kongguksu that I looked up before filming this video showed it using what appeared to be much thinner noodles than this. And so I don't know how authentic this is. I think this would have benefited a little better from slightly thinner noodles. I would consider these to be more of a medium gauge. So I'm going to give the noodles a 7 out of 10. in this preparation. As far as spice level goes, hey, a Korean soup that's not spicy. Yeah, I'm kind of surprised they didn't sneak some chili pepper in here, considering a lot of Korean cuisine has a little spice to it. So this is a 0 out of 10 on the spiciness scale. And so let's talk about the flavor. This is extremely and disappointingly bland. It's not overly sweet, which I was afraid of, but that would have at least been something. The main things I'm tasting are sesame oil and a very light combo of that corn and peanut powder. But beyond that, there's not much going on. It's certainly refreshing because it's cold. The broth itself has an actually nice consistency. It's thick and creamy. I can appreciate that about it. And I think as a base, if you added some more robust, flavorful ingredients in here, and probably some extra salt, this would turn into something good. Right now, by itself, I don't think it's good. And unfortunately for this product, all of my reviews are conducted as is before I add anything else. Because the question then remains, is this worth buying so that you can put your own ingredients into it? And yeah, this is tough. I see some merit in this. I see that this could be transformed into something tastier than it is at its core, but you need to put a lot of effort into it. In this state, you're basically eating sesame-flavored milk. I just don't find anything particularly compelling about it, unfortunately. So if you've had some version of Kongguksu before, and you know what you're getting into, and you want an instant version that you can add things to for a complete meal, then you're going to score this higher than I'm about to. In this state, it ultimately comes down to a bland, unimpressive flavor, and so I'm going to give this a 2.5 out of 10 as an overall score. Yeah, it's pretty disappointing. So yeah, while the texture of the broth is great, and it is certainly refreshing as promised, there's just not enough flavor in here for me to want to waste my time trying to make it better. If you do decide to try this, what do you add to it, you might ask? A lot of recipes for the non-instant variety show this with hard-boiled egg, tomato chunks, and sliced cucumber. And indeed, here on the packaging, it does show some tomato, a bunch more sesame seeds than what came with it, and some leafy herb that I can't identify. So really, adding some fresh raw vegetables and an egg should give you a pretty complete meal, and will hopefully make this taste better if you do decide to press forward and buy it. I was all set to throw a tomato and egg in here and have it for my lunch after filming, but I just find the flavor of the broth so unimpressive that I kind of don't want to waste the tomato and egg. So yeah, that's it for this review. If you do try this or have had it before, I'm curious to hear your thoughts. Especially if this is way out of your wheelhouse like it was for me. Despite my feelings on this, remember friends, don't be afraid to try new things. You never know what kind of amazing food is out there that you've never had before. For me, this just isn't one of them. So with that, I'm going to go find something else for my lunch, and I'll see you next time on Noodle Journey.